Number 9. The Jungle from Monster Hunter Dose. I don't think you could have executed an adventure to a jungle island in Monster Hunter better than this map did. This map is so good that even its very well executed remake in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak couldn't beat it. This place feels dense and mysterious, as well as lively, vibrant, and inviting. Sure, the denizens of the jungle can be dangerous, but the map itself doesn't really have its own hostile edge to it. I think it helps that this is the first map we have on the top 12 with a bright blue skybox to light the entire place up. But you also have this nice looking soft white sand, a great mixture of darker and lighter greens for the plant life. The water is a lovely looking shade of crystal blue, and much of the stone and dirt work here isn't shaded in too dark. It's generally just a pleasant map to look at and run around in. Even the cave system in the heart of the mountain isn't really that dank or dreary looking. There's numerous places where natural light comes spilling into these caves. Simply put, I enjoy being here. I think it's a really fun and almost kind of relaxing backdrop to fight monsters on. Probably has something to do with all the cooler colors. Less relaxing, but not unfitting, is the locale's music. It starts out driven by this very fast-paced percussion rhythm. There's a little bit of vocalization in there to kind of set a more tribal tone. All while the horns and strings gradually build on themselves, getting louder and more intense until the horns just start blaring out the main melody of the track. This section is then given a lot of drive and sense of danger by these shrill sounding strings repeatedly hitting on quarter notes. It's an awesome battle track, as well as a very fitting piece of music for the vibe of an ancient jungle. It's one of those really great map tracks that I don't think gets talked about enough. I think the sense of urgency and speed that the percussion and the strings give are legitimately invigorating to listen to. Then we have another pretty solid collection of battle zones here as well. Not the most diverse in terms of scenery and locations, but I think it gets the job done with what a jungle can offer. Zones 1, part of 3, and 9 use the dense foliage of a jungle pretty well. Areas 2 and 5 are these elevated low foliage platforms that grant nice big open backdrops to your battles with the monsters. Areas 4, 3, and 10 offer up these big slices of coastline to fight aquatic monsters on, and then 6, 7, and 8 make up a pretty solid cave section in the depths of the mountain that serves as the locale's centerpiece. Almost all of these zones are pretty fun to fight on too. Generally pretty spacious, with the exception of Area 1 being pretty lightly used. They all get some solid mileage from a variety of different monsters. Area 4 is a bit obnoxiously narrow though, especially if you have something like Plesioth spending half of its time there. It also has these 2 divots that you can kind of easily get stuffed into and then corner trapped in. Area 9 can also be a little obnoxious in places. It's got this really narrow choke point that monsters love to make use of. Traversal on this map is pretty solid. It's mostly just a 4-zone ring with a bunch of stuff in the middle. Area 3 also makes for a very nice reset zone for tracking monsters on, since it connects to 5 other battle zones and can more or less take you anywhere you want to go within only like a zone or 2. I will say, and this isn't necessarily the map's fault, I have some aggravating memories of this place, since it can be home to a lot of flying monsters, and they can go to pretty much any battle zone they want to, from any location that they want to. Not remembering spawn locations or forgetting a paintball in this place has resulted in a few 3 to 5 minute wild goose chases. Another major strength of this map is that it has reappeared so many times now that it has a pretty gargantuan roster of monsters that can go here, and the entire list is really solid and makes sense. The presence of caverns, beaches, wyvern nests, high altitude perches, and dense jungles have made it so that a huge chunk of the bestiary has a reason to be here. The jungle is a phenomenal classical map with a ton of mileage, a winning personality, a great selection of fights and battle zones, and I believe it stands as the absolute best that the original 2 generations of Monster Hunter had to offer in terms of locale design. Mild spoilers for the rest of the list.